Texans go to Jacksonville and completely embarrass, and I mean embarrass the Jaguars. Let's talk about it in the locker room.
Yeah, it's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock. Localize every time. Can't stop. Won't stop.
Welcome to the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. I'm Landry Locker. You can hear me Monday through Friday, 10 to 2. On Sports Radio 610 and the Odyssey app. Please subscribe, like, ride along if you would like. Texans got to win. And I think there are a lot of takeaways from this. Eddie says, and I think Eddie starts right off the top. And I think this is very well said by Eddie. We have a quarterback. Look, it's early. You've seen instances where, quarterbacks have started out well and they've kind of drifted off. But what CJ Stroud is doing right now is kind of something that you either have or you don't. He's acting like a leader at the podium. He's making smart decisions. He's overcoming shortcomings. And I said this week, and I asked this question, someone's asking what bet did I lose a bet? Which bet? No idea what bet you're talking about. So I asked the question, we're talking about all these games and, last week was the Nico Collins game. And I asked the question on Sports Radio 610, why can't this be the CJ Stroud game? Because I remember when Deshaun Watson went to Jacksonville on the bus, and there are many times where he was able to overcome, limitations, whether it was coaching, which, by the way, CJ Stroud doesn't appear to have. We'll get into that a little bit later on. But whether it was offensive line, whether it was coaching, he was able to overcome it. And the question was, why can't this be the CJ Stroud game? And I didn't take the damn Jags. You kidding me? I took the Texans first quarter +3, and I took the Texans money line after they scored the first touchdown. I didn't take no Jags. You kidding me? Come on, man. What kind of crazy crap is that? I ain't betting on the Jags. Las Vegas was begging you to. But CJ Stroud, the beauty of this is it didn't have to be the CJ Stroud game because Bobby Slowick got in his bag. The defense did what they needed to do, and special teams was doing their thing. So it didn't need to be the CJ Stroud game. Didn't need to be. And it was a complete and total effort. And this is why last week, and we had some disagreements about this on the air. And these are my biggest takeaways. Some of my biggest takeaways. It is the locker room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. Appreciate you for coming through. If you're new, please subscribe, like, ride along. We talk to players throughout the week. Top radio program in Houston. This is the top place for Texans digital content. So I appreciate you for coming through. But this is my biggest takeaways as we get into this thing, and we'll relive the game. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans. We'll probably hear from CJ Stroud. But you're allowed to play good ball with injuries. And last week, when many people were pissed off with the effort, including DeMeco Ryans, I was disgusted with it. And there were some people, I'm not going to generalize or anything, that were just saying, well, you have this many guys out on the offensive line. You have this many guys out on defense. Of course, this is going to happen. You were down 3 touchdowns to the Indianapolis Colts at home. Okay? And I know the Colts are better than we expected early on, but you were down 3 touchdowns to the Indianapolis Colts, and it was a sloppy-ass effort. So you're allowed to play good ball with injuries. You still had 3 starters out on the offensive line. You still had Jalen Petrie out on defense. We'll get to a very important return as the biggest takeaways continue, but you're allowed to play good ball. You're allowed to scratch and claw, and that's what the Texans did. And DeMeco Ryans deserves a lot of credit for this. Bobby Slowick deserves a hell of a lot of credit for this. But you can play good ball with injuries. It's still the same injuries on offense this week as they had last. Laramie Tunsil didn't make the trip, and they were able to get the job done. They were able to scheme. They were able to force turnovers. So you're allowed to do that, and the Texans did that, and they proved a point. So I think that is something that needs to be taken into account. Again, it's early, but that's big. And this kind of wipes away the loss to the Indianapolis Colts. And now you got some momentum heading into next Sunday when J.J. Watt's going to be in town against the Pittsburgh Steelers team that has flaws themselves. But that's my biggest takeaway. And we saw it today, one of them. Next one, and I don't say this to like diminish what Brady, I'm going to get to that in a sec. Your mind's in the right place because he will get here. He will get here in a second. We will get to the Jimmy Ward thing. But the next one is the Jags are top tier frauds. And I'm not saying this to take away from what the Texans are. I think we can balance this out. I don't think the Texans are as bad of a football team as a lot of people think they are, especially once they get rolling, once DeMeco, Slowick find their groove and they get more healthy. But the Jags are top tier frauds. We've been saying this all year. The Jags in Las Vegas at one point, their win total was over under 10.5 wins. You know how ridiculous that is? The Jacksonville Jaguars don't win the division last year if Ryan Tannehill doesn't get hurt. The Jacksonville Jaguars only won that playoff game after one of the worst first half performances you'll ever see because Brandon Staley's the coach of the Chargers. So to put Jacksonville's win total at 10.5 was asinine. I'm not saying Jacksonville isn't even like the best team in the AFC South. I'm not saying that they're not a second tier-ish type of team, but over under 10.5 wins, that's ridiculous. And we talked about, and this is what's to take it even a step further, like they were a 10-point favorite to start this week off. And immediately the money went in on the Texans. 83% of the money went in on the Texans, to the point where Las Vegas was chasing their tail saying, damn, we got to get someone to bet on Jacksonville. Let's lower this line to 7.5, which I guess was about right. But when you talk double-digit spread, you're talking about the Baltimore Ravens, who now appear to be getting banged up pretty badly. You're talking Baltimore, going to Baltimore. You're talking going to Kansas City. You're talking going to Kansas to Cincinnati when they're right. That's what you're talking about. Like, Jacksonville is not a top-tier AFC team. They're a team that is in the process of trying to get to strong second-tier team. But any notion that this team is like some sort of team that is like going to be flirting with 10 or 11 wins, that's a joke. And it was a joke that they opened as a double-digit favorite, even against the Texans team that is completely plummeted by injuries. So the Jags are frauds. That doesn't take away from this Texans. This was a hell of a win. This is one of the best wins that I can remember the Texans having. I might have to go back to the BOB 2019 win in Kansas City on the road to find as good of a road as to find as good of a win as this. But make no mistake about it, the Jags are frauds. They're not a top-tier team yet. Double digit? I mean, give me a damn break. I mean, that's an absolute joke. That's an incredible, absolute joke. Next takeaway. So we have, you can play good ball with injuries. The Jags are frauds. Next one, Jimmy Ward's important, man. Jimmy Ward is a very important player. Now, I know they had that busted coverage with 10:40 remaining. I don't know whose fault that was. I don't know if that was him or Toto on the Christian Kirk touchdown. But Jimmy Ward, it's not just the physicality that he brings, but you can tell that he's directing traffic. Go back and look. And I'm not a film watcher. I'm a highlight reactor, and I'm a storyteller with y'all. I don't do the fake film study and stuff. But on the Blake Cashman interception, before the Blake Cashman interception, which was on third down, go back and watch the first down play. And you see Jimmy Ward. Jimmy Ward's on the back left. And Trevor Lawrence says something. And then you see Jimmy Ward say, hey. And he's pointing traffic. And Trevor Lawrence goes back and throws. The second that the guy catches it, Jimmy Ward's right there. So he kind of sniffed it out. So Jimmy Ward, NFL top 100 player a couple of years ago, a guy that was right on the fringe with the NFL 100 this year. Jimmy Ward is very important. Next takeaway, and I got to salute Bobby Slowick. Bobby Slowick was in his bag today. He was very, very good at balancing the run and the pass. And you can go back to the first touchdown. The Texans were fighting hard for yardage. They were fighting hard for yardage. And then they throw a deep ball to Tank Dell. At the end of the first half, they were up 14 points. Third down. Could have easily just ran and punted and crossed your fingers that you get a stop. He throws it to Dell on the sidelines, then throws it to Nico across the middle. They get a 3-possession lead, and they take that into the half. When it looked like it was kind of danger zone and kind of same old Texans, you had Bobby Slowick call the third down bomb to Tank Dell, 3rd and short. You could tell Jacksonville was kind of anticipating the run, especially after the 2 runs that Pierce had before that. And Tank Dell takes it for a touchdown, and that when it was over. Bobby Slowick was in his bag today. And he deserves a lot of credit as well. Bobby Slowick was damn good today. And there's a lot of things to like about the Texans. By the way, Indianapolis has won. So Indianapolis is the only 2-win team in the AFC South. Everybody else has 1 win. So the Indianapolis Colts, they beat Baltimore, who, by the way, getting completely pummeled by injuries now. Indianapolis now first place in the division, which, come on. You got to think that once you get healthy, you can compete with them for sure. 100%. The Andrew Beck kick return, that might have been the funniest play that I've seen all season long. You had so there were a couple of times when you were watching this game where there were kind of like those shucks, same old moments that you thought were going on. The Andrew Beck, where Mike Boone, by the way, I don't know what Mike Boone was doing all day, but they're between Mike Boone taking it out of the end zone on the first play and running into Andrew Beck on the kick return touchdown. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but you almost felt, and that was when Jacksonville had kind of cut the lead. I think they'd cut it to 7. You almost felt like, oh, God, here we go. The wheels are about to fall off. Texans are going to find a way to lose. Andrew Beck kind of eliminated that. I think Andrew Beck was I've been high on Andrew Beck. He's definitely got that deceptive speed. I think the fact that he looks like a tall, slow, pudgy white guy kind of helped him in that situation. But yeah, Andrew Beck did his thing on there. And then I don't know how y'all felt, but watching the game, as soon as Jacksonville cut it to 10 with 10:40 left, the Christian Kirk pass, I was kind of sitting there saying, are we sure about this? And I think the live betting athletic, I'm reading the Athletic, the sneaky Athletic Andrew Beck things, but the live bet, I think was only Jags at 5-1. So it seemed like people thought that there was kind of a chance that the Jags would come back. Let's kind of recap the game. Get your comments in. I'll get to the comments a little later on. We'll hear from DeMeco Ryans. We'll hear from CJ Stroud. It is a locker room post-game show. Be sure to subscribe, right along. Right off the top, the early in the game, the first 2 drives, I thought that Jacksonville, like good teams would have been able to take advantage of this, but Jacksonville's not like a really good team. They're just kind of like trying to be a good team. The Texans gave away 27 free yards early on, and it was actually a pretty sloppy start on what ended up being a pretty good special teams game for the Texans. You had Mike Boone returning the ball to the 13-yard line. I don't know if he thought he was Reggie Bush at USC or what, but he decided to do that. then you had the running into the punt returner situation, and you'd immediately given Jacksonville 27 yards to start stuff off. However, the Jags missed the field goal, and it was from there, it was basically just sloppy start wiped away. It was kind of like a clean forget about it. Because in a good world against a good team, you're down 3 points there. But the Texans gave them 27 yards, and the Jags they returned the favor with the missed field goal. And then on the next drive, I thought this was interesting. The way that I said this, I think it was like two Olympic sports like back and forth. You had hard runs by Dameon Pierce, and the running game, you'll look at the stats and you'll say it wasn't effective. But I think the way in which Dameon Pierce was fighting for yardage, it's gotta. I don't want to be one of these like send a message type of guys. You know how when someone will say, "Yeah, well, he went for it there, and that really sent a message to the team." I don't think that, but I do think when someone's fighting as hard as Dameon Pierce is, I think that the effectiveness of the run game is a little bit more a little bit more it's a little bit more than what you see in the stat sheet when you do that. And it's kind of like balancing a wrestling match with a track meet, because after a couple of Pierce hard runs, the Texans hit Tank Dell for 46 yards. And then you have the Pierce TD, and it makes it 7-0 Texans. So missed opportunity for the Jags early to capitalize on Texans slop, and then just a complete punch to the face by the Texans with a little track meet sprinkled in to make it 7-0. I don't know what was up with Calvin Ridley today, but Calvin Ridley in the first half, he had 2 false starts, couple of drops. He kind of went down. Calvin Ridley was really, really, really sloppy today. And I don't know if there's just inconsistency. I don't know if I don't know if he's not healthy or what, but Calvin Ridley today was pretty rough. Pretty damn rough. And then you had Jacksonville. I thought this was interesting. I know how y'all felt with the Texans up 7-0. It was fourth and a long 2 or 3. I thought Doug Peterson would go for it. Look, you'd already missed a field goal. It's 7-0. The Texans have kind of like set the tone. He decides to kick the field goal, and Will Anderson blocks the field goal after he elected to kick it. I thought that was huge too. I thought that was kind of, if you are the send a message to your team guy, I thought that was a weird message by Doug Peterson, and it completely backfired, because if you do think that that's a thing, you get the field goal blocked, and then the Texans get the ball. And on the very next drive, you have a touchdown to Brevin Jordan, which makes it 14-0. And in the comments right here, you have Mr. Heisenberg saying Brevin Jordan citing, and then someone was talking about Brevin Jordan and me talking about Brevin Jordan. Look, I said Brevin Jordan was as close to dead as possible, but all this week on the show, I said that Brevin Jordan was going to score a touchdown. I said this was going to be the Brevin Jordan game. The thing with Brevin Jordan is that Brevin Jordan was one of the first names that CJ Stroud, and this is it, Miles and Cognac. Remember all that crap you gave Brevin Jordan, how he won't make the team? Kind of didn't age well. I didn't think he would make the team. I thought he was fighting for his life. But he ended up making it. And I said all this week, there's actually a tweet, there's a receipt. You can go look at Adam Spillane's timeline. I said this could be the Brevin Jordan game. and to look out for him. I mean, quite frankly, he looks a lot more dynamic than Dalton Schultz. CJ has mentioned him by name, and they never wavered getting rid of him. So I think it aged pretty decently. It's a fluid process. But Brevin Jordan finds the end zone. That makes it 14-0. Then you have a situation where the Jags, and this is the sloppiness once again, and this is what bad football teams do. 4th and 1 conversion at the 46, negated by a penalty. It forced the Jags to punt. Shaq Griffin, kind of a tense moment because you wondered, is Shaq Griffin going to be able to stay in the game? By the way, he had 10 tackles. I don't know how much they missed Stingley today. Shaq Griffin had 10 tackles, ended up staying in the game. But after Shaq Griffin left the game, they went right at his replacement, and it was negated by a hands to the face. Then later on in the second half, this was big. The Eric Murray forced fumble. That's that swarm that DeMeco Ryans talks about. Eric Murray, like the transformation. You talk about Brevin Jordan going from kind of fringe player to maybe the best tight end so far early in the season. Eric Murray went from overpaid B.O.B. Jack Easterby signing to just a really, really good depth guy. Probably not the guy that you want, to be your every time starting safety. Probably not the guy that you want to pay as much as they did early on. But as far as just being a depth guy and a solid depth guy, Eric Murray's been solid. I agree with that. Shout out to Eric Murray. I mean, he just kept playing ball. Sometimes it's about, it's not about getting in pockets. It's about that puzzle that comes with salaries and stuff. Like, you're giving this guy this much. Is he performing at this level? Eric Murray was a really, really solid signing. Ferris Jabbar says game was a lot closer than the score because every time the Texans seemed like they were pulling away, Jags got a quick score, and the Beck miraculous TD made it almost seem destined for the Texans to win. Yeah, that was kind of where you figured might be one of these days. And there were a lot of self-inflicted mistakes by the Jags. But the thing about it is that bad teams don't do that. Bad teams do not, or good teams do not do that. Jags just kind of an overhyped squad. This was a pivotal moment too, Bobby Slowick. So 14-0, what were you guys thinking? When it was 14-0, you just kind of forced a fumble, stopped the Jags from threatening to score. It's 3rd and 6, I think. Ends up being 3rd and 6. Were you thinking take it to the house, or were you thinking be aggressive? I mean, with this offensive line, etc. I was told that you're not even allowed to play offense with this offensive line. Just got a funny text from someone. Were you thinking be aggressive, or were you thinking be honest? Be honest. Were you thinking be aggressive, or were you thinking just take it to the house? So you had the Tank Dell sideline, which was called incomplete initially. They then reviewed it. They called it a catch. Then you had the sideline pass to Robert Woods. And then with a few seconds left, Nico Collins, man, he was almost going to stay up too long, wasn't he? Nico Collins goes down, immediate timeout, 2 seconds remaining, field goal. You take it to the house to go up 17-0. Were you thinking conservative, or were you thinking be aggressive? A lot of aggressive folks here. Wish I could have heard what y'all were saying at the time, but a lot of people saying aggressive. People wanted the TD. Aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Okay. Well, you got your wish. If that's what you wanted, you got your wish. And they went up 17-0. Then at halftime, how are you feeling? 17-0. Jimmy Johnson goes on, and Jimmy Johnson says, this game is far from over right now. This is still a really good Jacksonville football team, and anyone can win this game. Jacksonville comes out. this is where you kind of really want to. The first drive is where you really, really wonder, like, how are they going to respond? Is this going to be an interesting game? What is Jacksonville going to look like? The Jags actually kind of got bailed out here on the first touchdown. You had Etienne move the chains. Travis E move the chains 3 times. Then you had I think it was a drop pass and then a false start. And then on third down, they threw the ball in the end zone. Jimmy Ward and Calvin Ridley kind of going at it. Could have gone either way, but they throw the flag. Jags get the ball at the 1-yard line. If you had Travis E in your fantasy, like me, Tank Bigsby, that thief, takes the touchdown. Jags cut it to 17-7. But even when the Jags were having some sort of momentum, there was still like elements of sloppiness, right? So you got things going, you drop a pass, you have a false start, you throw it in the end zone, a penalty gets it down to the 1-yard line, and you end up scoring and cutting it to 17-7. But there were still elements of like sloppiness. It still didn't look like a really good Jag squad, or a team that was just like going to play clean enough, long enough to come back from a 17-0 lead. Then you had the Texans go out there. Nico Collins fails to catch a ball from CJ Stroud, probably a little bit low, and Nico didn't have his head completely turned around. CJ kind of had to rush it because of pressure, but probably one of those that I'm sure Nico would say he probably needs to catch, and CJ would say he probably needs to put it a little bit higher. But it forces a punt when you're down, when you're only up 10. Jags then cut it to 17-10, and this is where it's kind of make or break. And this is where you're kind of like, oh, damn. Is the Texans offense going to go stale? What are they going to do here? It's 17-10. What the hell are the Texans going to do? And this is where you just kind of say, okay, for the first time in a long time, might be the Texans' day, because you get that oh crap feeling. Kickoff short. Andrew Beck tries to catch it. Mike Boone runs into him. You're thinking, oh, God, the Texans are going to get the ball on the 10-yard line. Andrew Beck picks it up, takes it to the house, and it completely changes the game. And from there, you kind of just knew that the game was over. You kind of just knew that the Texans were going to take this. There was that brief moment where the Jags cut it to 10 with 10:40. You were kind of hoping you could keep them in front. But from as soon as the Texans returned that kick with Beck and then the Tank Dell touchdown, you were basically popping victory beers, victory liquor, whatever the hell you wanted to pop with that. And Bobby Slowick deserves a lot of credit for that. And yeah, that's what that was. I'm with the whatever says, I don't want to hear it. Get the comments in. We'll get to them. We'll hear from DeMeco and CJ Stroud shortly. I'm with the blank says, I don't want to hear about Stroud being great, Dameon Pierce being efficient, or Tank Dell's him. The game ball goes to the O-line for doing their mother effing job. Okay. Whatever you say, sir. Lou says Dalton cost us $10 million. I think Dalton will be a key contributor, although he did have the drop in the end zone. He does look stiff on the after the catch. But yeah, I don't really think he I think you can give plenty of game balls. I don't think you got to just give it to the offensive line. It's kind of hardo of you to say that. So do y'all believe the wide receiver group still sucks? They're putting up good numbers. Look, the wide receiver group has been a pleasant surprise between Tank Dell, Nico Collins. They're sprinkling in a little bit of Mechie. I mean, it's been a pleasant surprise. They've done very well with this wide receiver group, for sure. Adrian says, great game overall. Still think Schultz has been one of the biggest disappointments. I would say so. I mean, he definitely hasn't been good. So, yeah, I would agree with that. He definitely hasn't been very good. Vincent says, I'm going to be honest. We have some stuff to clean up. Our defense is still pretty bad. No sacks at all, but we got decent pressure until the end. But this is still pretty bad. Damn, that's a tough crowd. You don't have Jalen Petrie. You don't have Derek Stingley. For the most part, I thought they kind of kept the Jags in front of them. The Jags did have some self-inflicted wounds. I mean, I don't know how you look at, were plays made? Like, did Eric Murray make a play and did Blake Cashman make a play, or was it self-inflicted? I think you can go either way. But I don't feel awesome about the defense. I don't feel terrible about the defense. D. Sanders says, put some respect on CJ Stroud's name, a rookie, and he's shining. No interceptions in his first 3 games of his career. He looks great. I mean, he looks great. And the intangibles were never to be questioned. He seems to be a student of the game. I never really got involved in like the whole reading type of thing. I was a Bryce Young guy, but 3 games in, he looks good. I mean, he's by far right now the best rookie quarterback. And I think you can also, I think it's kind of clear that there's no drop-off in Indianapolis with Gardner Minshew to Anthony Richardson. I actually think that if Anthony Richardson hadn't gotten hurt last week, we might be talking about a 2-1 team. I don't know what the Colts do when Richardson comes back. I guess they make him the starter. I don't know. I mean, when a guy goes on the road to Baltimore, depleted or not, and wins like Minshew did, I mean, do they have a quarterback controversy? I don't know. It's kind of an interesting situation there. But, yeah, so far you've got to like – what you see from CJ Stroud. Quarterback, the quarterback position for the Texans doesn't seem to be a concern at all, to say the least. I need some Chick-fil-A chicken noodle soup. Been kind of a rest week for me, not going to lie. Gutted it out last week, the last 2 days. Been fighting kind of a cold. Wifey making me stay in the other room away from the baby, but just kind of how it goes, man. It's kind of how it goes sometimes. Sometimes it be like that. Whenever it's football season, got to gut it out. Are you happy with Stroud yet? Of course I'm happy with Stroud. There's never been an issue with the way Stroud has played so far this year. CJ better than Bryce. That appears to be a popular opinion. Someone says, still talking about that Schultz, that drop TD pass by Schultz could have redeemed his not so stellar season thus far. And Schultz is the guy right now to pick on, huh? Come on, man. If we had that O-line in Baltimore and against Indy, we'd be sitting at 3-0. And they did have that O-line. What do you mean? Even if the O-line had played that good, yeah, I mean that they did have that O-line. It's kind of what they were dealing with. Let's hear from DeMeco here. Let's hear how DeMeco's team responds. Let's hear what he had to say after the dub. This was let me pull this up. We'll hear from DeMeco and then we'll hear from CJ. Here's DeMeco Ryans after his first victory as an NFL head coach here in the locker room. Take it away, Coach.
Yeah, really, really proud of all of our guys today for playing complementary football. I think each phase made big-time plays to help us win this game, starting with the special teams, right? 2 game-changing plays, the block field goal by Will, and then the return by Beck for a touchdown. You talk about special teams impacting the games, credit to Coach Ross and what he's done with that group. They've done an outstanding job. And offensively, I think guys played really well, right? Improving on what we talked about correcting, right? Starting with the protection, our O-line, right? Really did a great job of protecting. And CJ, again, another impressive outing. really good by him, the receivers, Tank, right, stepping up, making big-time plays, Brevin making big-time plays for us, multiple guys making plays. It felt like we ran the ball better today, and that was our emphasis throughout the week of really running the ball. I thought DP ran the ball much better. Still want to keep improving in the run game, but this was a great start for us and where we were. Defensively, see our guys, they were flying around, playing swarming football, what we like, attacking the football. Eric Murray, big hit, forcing the fumble. Cashman stepped up big for us today, making some plays, recovering the fumble, right? Interception on third down, big game changer plays. And so I asked our guys before we, went out, just playmakers have to step up and make plays for us to win games in this league. And that's what our guys did today. We had a lot of playmakers, a lot of different guys stepping up in different spots, making plays. And we had a great week of practice, and guys, it resulted in a win. These guys came out to work today.
So another impressive outing by Stroud. How do you describe how he played today, what he means to this offense, and what he made win?
Right. Everything starts with the quarterback, and we have a good one who's done really good things. He's improved every week, and that's what I really like about and admire about CJ is just he's dialed in to improving every week. He's not satisfied, right? He's been a leader for us, for the offensive unit, and it's impressive to see a young man go out and continue to get better each week and lead that group.
I know this is the team way, I know it's all about the team, I get that. You personally, though, take a minute. What does it mean to you?
No, it's special. To get the first win is definitely special. And thinking about it for a long time since we, started, how would that first win be? And, it's a lot of work. And I never lose sight of the grind and the work that it takes to win a game. But I'm so proud of our guys. I'm happy for our guys and the work that they put in to help us win this game. Like, it's a credit to everybody. It was truly a team effort. And I'm just thankful, right, to be in this position to help lead these men.
What were you thinking during the kick return? First, back fumbles, and then you were rumbling.
Right.
What was in your mind?
I saw it late. I was looking down. I didn't see it. I look up and Beck is coming at me like with. I was like, oh well, he'll make this guy miss, and then kept moving, and man, you look up and it's a touchdown. So very excited for Beck, and he owed us one. He missed the block there on the first kickoff return. He said he owed us one, but he paid back big time for us to get a touchdown there.
I would think also being back in his home state,
Yeah.
See this guy as far as every week improvement and what makes him dynamic.
Yeah, Tank shows up every week, and then this game meant a lot to him being back home. A lot of family at the game attending, so it was it's important for him to have a big game, and it's cool to watch Tank just every week. Like I say, he shows up, he puts the work in, and explosive playmaker since OTAs, and it's still showing up right now in the season. So happy with where Tank is.
CJ is the first quarterback. NFL history passed over 900
Locker room here on YouTube. DeMeco Ryans addressing the media after his first dub.
yards, 4 touchdown passes, no interceptions the first 3 starts. What does that say about what type of potential he can have in this league?
Yeah, I think sky's the limit for CJ. He just keeps his head down and keep working. Like CJ is a very humble young man, and he's all about the team, and that's how you become successful in this league. Right? It's not about one person, and CJ understands that more than anyone else, and he understands how important it is as a team to play together. And so he keeps his mindset the way it is. He'll continue to improve, get better, and be a really good quarterback in this league.
Did you feel like the momentum at all seemed like Jaguars were starting the second half pretty good? Basically, that touchdown. Do you feel like the momentum changed at all at that point?
Right, it came out second half, drove the ball down on us and scored, and for us it was we responded, and nobody blinked, nobody panicked. It was good to see. Right, when bad things happen, how you respond. I thought our guys responded well. Guys kept pushing, they kept fighting. We made plays, right? Again, playing complementary football. That's how you win games. So I was happy and proud of our team for the way they responded when it didn't quite go our way.
What do you think of the way the offensive line pulled? No sacks this time, and just 4 minutes.
Yeah, I think our offensive line played really well, keeping the quarterback clean, right, not giving up any sacks. that's what we want. Is they play well as a unit, and that's what it takes in protection. It takes all 5 guys playing together, tight ends, backs, helping in protection, and the quarterback getting the ball out on time and where it needs to go. So it's all 11 guys playing well, but it's really credit to Coach Strasser and the O-line for what they did today.
There were a lot of plays where Trevor Lawrence holding the ball and how he was showing it go. How much credit goes to the secondary forcing him to hold the ball in that manner?
Yeah, secondary played well today. You know, getting Jimmy back was big for us. That's the communication and his playmaking ability on the back end. Eric Murray stepping up, making big-time plays for us. When our safeties are communicating and, you know, really patrolling the field back there, like they make it tough on quarterbacks, and that's what we expect to see. So they did a really good job today.
When Stroud's able to connect on those long throws, how do you see the dynamic?
CJ Stroud show here in the locker room.
And for CJ, and you know, we want to be an explosive offense, right? So when they're making big-time plays, big explosive plays down the field, it's about the connection between – it all starts with the protection, right? Everybody gives love to the quarterback, but he has to have time to make those throws. The protection is good, and he puts a nice ball out there, and credit to Tank for making the big-time catch as well. Yeah, I mean, you know, we're thankful for our fans. We had fans down here supporting us here in Jacksonville. We're thankful for their support. And for us, we just want to continue to go out and play great football, to put a team on the field that our fans are proud of. So hopefully our fans are pretty happy this week.
Oh, they are. They are.
How are you guys able to rally together and put out a dominating performance?
Yeah, it's how we're able to come together, missing a lot of guys. It's my mindset for this entire team and what it's about. It's always a team first mentality, right? It really doesn't matter who is out there, who is called. Like, it's opportunity when we're missing guys, and we're relying on everybody who steps out on that field just to do their job and do it with a relentless mindset. And when guys do that, it doesn't matter who's out, who's in. Just 11 guys playing together, that's winning football.
Catching also leaping for that these effort plays. What do you see from that? What does it say about these kind of players?
Yeah, we make big plays. It's going to always be about effort, right? It's something I truly believe in. Like, it's relentless effort every play, all out. That's how you win games. That's how you impose your will on other teams, is by playing with great effort. Good. All right, thank you, guys.
All right, there you go. It's DeMeco Ryans here in the locker room. We'll hear CJ Stroud. As soon as we get CJ, we'll go out there and check out what he's working with here in the locker room. A lot of dialogue. Appreciate all the comments. Keep them coming in. Please be sure to subscribe, right along. Biggest takeaways for me, just to reset. Number one, you're allowed to play good football even when you're injured. I think we learned that from the Texans. Number two, Jacksonville is not a top-tier squad. They're not a over-under 10.5 wins in Las Vegas, and they're not a double-digit favorite type of team, no matter how depleted a ball club is. They're not there yet. Maybe they'll get there. I know that there seems to be, you know, a rush to get them there. They're not there yet. They might be the best team in the AFC South still. They still might end up winning the division. I'm sure they still probably feel good about their chances, but they're not there. They wouldn't have made the playoffs last year had Tennessee not gotten hurt. And Ryan Tannehill gotten hurt, and they wouldn't have won that playoff game if Brandon Staley wasn't the coach of the Chargers. So they're an okay squad. They're 1-2. Offensive line's getting a little bit nicked up, and they got to go to London for 2 weeks. And I don't know how they're going to do there. They're going to have to. They are going to have to battle to win this division. That's just kind of where stuff is. We will hear from CJ Stroud in a second. A lot of people are excited about him. Appreciate all the dialogue going in the message board. This is kind of like a community for Texans fans, for NFL fans to come in. I don't mind trash talk, all that type of stuff. It's great. Every once in a while, you'll get put in timeout. We don't need this, like, hey, you don't know, do you ever watch football? All that crap. That's like, just cut that crap out. Someone also said that Davis Mills would have won this game behind this offensive line. He got put in timeout. I respect everyone's opinion, but sometimes, I mean, you gotta get put in timeout. I think it's just like a 5-minute timeout, nose in the corner, whatever. But I mean, come on. Davis Mills would have won this game. Now we're just being silly. Primetime V asks, what's up with Tunsil practicing all week but not suiting up? Don't know. Derek Poe, the tight end group will work itself out. And that's the thing. I think a lot of this stuff, that you worry about, a lot of the stuff that you worry about is it can be fixed with the return. I think the tight end group becomes perhaps more effective once you have both of your starting tackles back. I think you can manage in certain ways, but maybe it's a little bit easier when you have Titus Howard, who gets paid like one of the best right tackles in the league, and Laramie Tunsil, who I think is one of the best left tackles in the league. When they're out there, that might open up the tight ends. Might also open up the run game, which is another concern. So some of these stuff can work themselves out. Tex fan since 02 says Tunsil cashing a check. You're not the only one saying that. 2 years ago when his contract situation was stable, he was shut down for 10 days or 10 games with the hurt thumb. Last year's kind of battling when he was trying to get the contract, and then this year's here. I don't know what's wrong with Tunsil. We'll see. Rick says, did you actually say the Texans can win the division? I bet $100 on the field versus Jacksonville. So I don't know. I mean, there's been instances where teams, win X amount of games. I mean, what's the record going to be? 9-8? Is it going to be a 10-win division? I don't think so. So I don't know whether the Texans can or can't. But in the NFL, every year, literally for the last 10 years, I've actually done videos on this. Teams go from winning 3 to making the playoffs. The Giants did it last year, although they didn't win the division. Just kind of happens. So we'll see. Mr. Robot asks, so after Pittsburgh, do we get most of our players back? I mean, that's when they're eligible to return. When you put them on IR, that's when they're eligible to return. So Titus will be eligible to return. I would think that he's coming back. And then Juice Scruggs, it's to be determined. It's not like a given. It's just when they're eligible. I wanted Bryce Young. Look, we'll see what happens over the course of time. I know if we were talking back at the RG3 Andrew Luck time, it would be all RG3. After Trevor Lawrence's first year, they were saying, different things about him. But yeah, do you think I want Bryce Young to be better than CJ Stroud when CJ Stroud's a Texan? You kidding me? It's absolutely insane. So yeah, I'd love to be wrong. I'll be wrong. You guys listen to me. You guys know I'll be wrong. Sometimes I'll be wrong. Sometimes I'll be right. I am not addicted to being right. I can promise you that. That is for damn sure. I would much rather have CJ Stroud be amazing than Bryce Young. That's for damn sure. I don't give a damn what the dialogue was or was it before the draft. I have always, though, the one thing I've always done, back to the Ohio State days, I've always been a big fan of how CJ Stroud handles himself at the podium. And let's hear from CJ Stroud. Texans get their first win, which means CJ Stroud gets the first win of his career. 20 of 30, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns. And just some overall smart play. Always been a fan of the leadership, the intangibles, the makeup. Let's hear from CJ Stroud here in the locker room post-game show.
I want to give him all glory and praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, man. It was a hell of a week preparing. Excuse my language. Heck of a week preparing, practicing, and I think that's what got it done. Just the preparation that we put in, the hard work.
CJ Stroud just said hell of a week and said, excuse my language. My goodness, man. Oh, he's hilarious.
It was really hot in Houston this week, and that helped us in this Jacksonville heat. But yeah, man, I really think it was all around win. Special teams, defense, offense, all play together. I think that just sets a tone for what we can be in this league, man. So really, really great team win.
CJ, your first win as a professional, I imagine, a real exciting moment for you today. Okay. Tell me what's the biggest difference between a college win and an NFL win?
A great question. For me, I mean, I come from Ohio State. Go Bucks, man. You know, got the dub last night. Hard fought win. Shout out Kyle McCord, my dog. All them boys on the defense, you know. Coming from Ohio State, man, it's a pressure element that is pushed on every week that either you can't lose, and if you're playing a less than team that people think are less than, you have to win by 70 plus points. So, like, the preparation that I put in college, I almost kind of did the same thing as I've gone to the league. And every week, just my routine has been almost the same, and I've tweaked things here and there. But everything has kind of been like I did in college, and just the hard work that it takes. And it takes a little more in the league because it's just that one little play, one negative play that can ruin the whole game that I'm learning. And then those negative plays as a quarterback, not getting rid of the ball or taking hits. And every week I'm learning. So I wouldn't say like it's a huge, big difference, but it is. Like the NFL, the best players in the world every week. Like we played against.
They're crazy as hell at Ohio State. Let's be serious. You can win, and they want everyone fired. Let's be serious. By the way, Ryan Day yesterday getting mad at Lou Holtz. That was the most fake toughness I've ever seen.
Indy, they had great players on defense, and then we played against Jacksonville, great overall defense too. Like every week has been a battle, and I appreciate where I come from. I just got off the phone with Coach Day, and he kind of said some things to me that he used to always say to me when I was at Ohio State that just resonated. And I told him congrats and everything for the win from last night. But what prepared me from college is working now in the league as well. And I think this is just the beginning. Like, yeah, we won. Let's throw it away, watch the film, correct the issues, and let's go on to week 4, man. I think that's the next step is just doing it again, being consistent.
How were you at the moment Andrew was running down and what do you remember thinking?
Man, it went from a moment like, no, to yes, go, yes, hold the ball, don't fumble. Like, so it was just a really good moment for our team. I think this was our first time having juice and energy. And that was my challenge to the team a little bit, with juice and energy on the sideline. Like, when you make a play, the first thing when you do, you look back to the sideline because your brothers are over there. And I think that's what, like, that momentum carried into a win. And, of course, like, we've got to clean that up because something bad could happen. But, football is a crazy sport, and we'll take it. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely love Beck, man. He's a warrior. Like, I'll go to war with that dude any week. Man, he's a heck of a ball player, but a great man. And to line up with him, man, it's an honor. It's a blessing. It's a privilege. So, man, shout out to Beck.
CJ, on that, it seems like you're getting more comfortable in this offense. The second drive, when they had 9 minutes, it seemed like you made that check to the left, and then that throw to Dell after. You see that. So can you take me through that, what you saw? It seemed like it was probably something I've been running for a long time.
Yeah, man. Every week I'm trying to just take a step forward and never back. And it's a battle every day. Like, from tonight, I'll begin on the next team, the Steelers, and then I'll go into my routine and my preparation. So it's a battle, man. And like you said, just getting used to how Bobby calls it, the calls, me operating the offense, getting out the huddle. I think Baltimore was the best thing that ever happened to us, operating from an away loud standpoint. So I'm getting a lot of learning experience, and I have a lot of great guys around me that are helping me. Like Dalton Schultz, man, like he helps me out a lot, and he probably doesn't even know that, but like he helps me a lot. George Fant, Shaq Mason, Kendrick Green, Josh Jones, JP, me and him are rookies. You know what I'm saying? We're figuring it out, and they're helping us along the way. And it's a blessing to play around guys like that. So I'm learning, I'm growing, and it's really a testament to our coaches. Gerard has done a great job with me every day, just getting on every little detail. He's with me every moment. And then Bobby calling it, Bill Lazor, Shane Day, all of them have done a great job helping me with my processing.
And I think that's underrated. You go to Baltimore first, then you go to Jacksonville. I think that's almost like, fighting, I don't know, Mike Tyson in his prime, and then fighting Mike Tyson in his final fight.
A couple of your teammates want to ask you about Tank Dell and how the connection that you guys have built, and also drop this line. You said last week that you believed in them, and then today you don't get sacked at all.
Yeah, man, I think that shows the fight that we have. And I was super, super happy for Tank. Being home, I know he had a lot of people here, And, man, he balled out, man. That was our first time taking a shot and the first time hitting it. So I think it just shows the connection me and him naturally have. We put in a lot of extra work, and it's good to see it pay off. And now it's time to go do it again and be consistent with it. So really, really proud of him. And that doesn't happen without protection up front. So my old line, man, they had a great game. I think I learned a lot from just getting the ball out. Even when it's not there, check it down or get rid of it or do something to not take those hits. And that showed in this game. Like you said, I didn't get sacked. I don't think. I think I'm just learning because those guys up front are battling, and I got to help those guys out like they helped me. So.
DeMeco was saying it starts with the quarterback on the team. We have a good one, like you said. And to deliver a win, you talked about leadership earlier in the week. What do you take away from this to be able to deliver a win along with your team? Where do you feel from that?
Right. For me, I think remembering the feeling of losing and how terrible it is, and the feeling of what we just felt in that locker room right there. Like that's what it's about. Doing it again. Like that's the hardest thing I've learned about this football game since I've been little. So is the great ones do it every week, and if they don't do it that week, they don't ever have two bad weeks. That's something that we're working towards. Is just eliminating the negative plays and doing really, really well on first, second down and completing and executing on third down and keeping the ball, time of possession, field position, all those things really play into winning a tough NFL football game. So I think that's what it takes, man, the preparation and the work we put in. Now it's time to do it all over again. You know what I mean? So
You're the first quarterback ever to get the ball with 900 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions in his first 3 starts.
There we go. Stat recitals.
Allows you to be able to play at that type of level.
I think the things God has put me through, and I know I always refer to God, but it's true, man. Like it's nothing that He gave me a lot of great talents, and I think something that I've learned around my process of being just a man of God is you have to meet Him halfway with your hard work, and the opportunities He presents to him, you have to be ready for that. So he's put me through a lot through this game, and I think just those hard losses I took in college, the hard losses we took those 2 weeks, the wins I've won, like I know God has taught me what it takes to be successful in this game of football, and it's a blessing, man. But I have great guys around me. I really think that's what it is. Like nothing I can do without those guys up front battling. The receivers are on the right route at the right depth. Bobby calling the right plays at the right time. Like it's a team. So I'm blessed enough to have a team that will continue to fight, and it's a blessing to have guys around you to do that.
Last one.
With Bobby, you mentioned that it seemed like there were times that you get them with 9 in the box, long touchdown plays. What was the game plan that you got versus what you were able to attack today?
Yeah, we knew Jacksonville was a gritty, hard-nosed, physical football team that loved to stop the run and was really dynamic in the DB. Like they have really, really good DBs, and we knew that if we can establish a run early, that we can be able to throw the ball as well. So that was somewhat of the game plan. I can't tell you everything, but that's kind of the game plan every week. We got to run the ball. Got to be able to run the ball, and everything works off of that. So it was good to see our guys getting low at their pad level. DP running through things, Motor running through things, Boom playing hard. I think overall Beck and Dahl and Teagan and my guy Brad, man. Nobody's talking about Brad. Shout out to Brad, man. The most energy, juiced up guy, natural juice that you'll meet. So shout out to Brad, man. I love that guy. So man, all around, man, everybody's playing well.
I'll ask about that. And that connection. What was that to see you always paying for him to spend work for him to get that chance to talk to him with that next for him? What was that?
Yeah, I think it's a real big momentum for him. He's a heck of a football player, a great person. He's always checking up on people, and just a positive light. And that's something that you need in the locker room. And to see him ball out every week, like he had a good week last week, had a good week this week, and he's growing and growing just like we all are. And he's one of the first people that reached out to me when I got drafted. And it's good to have a natural connection with him as well. And man, shout out to Brad, man. It's a real good dude to play with. Right. So God bless y'all. Have a good one.
Man, at the podium, there aren't too many better than him. Who knows what happens? I mean, it's early in the process. I will say this: CJ looks the part, but I don't think. Do you think Shane Steichen's a better coach than DeMeco Ryans right now? You ready to say that yet? Didn't think so. It's very early, but he looks incredible. And the crazy thing about it is he's going to get his starting tackles back, but he appears to just have the total makeup. CJ Stroud. This is the locker room post-game show. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Going to have videos throughout the week. Please listen to In the Loop, Sports Radio 610, 10 to 2 Central. We have players every Thursday. The number one radio resource in H-Town. Numbers don't lie. And a good place to ride along for the Pulse. We don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly with you guys. No days off, anything like that. Have a baby, whatever. I'm in here. And we're getting this done, and we're all in it together, whether they're crappy or not. It's not a go away, come back type of thing. This is just kind of how we roll. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans daily digital content. Get your questions in. Just start it out. If you have an actual question that you want answered before we get out of here, just start it off with LL so that I can look through it, because all you guys are talking smack to each other, which I like. But it's hard to read. I'm just going to reset the overall themes. We'll have the key moments tomorrow. I'm going to have that out. I'm going to drop that at 10 a.m. We'll go through the 12, 1, 2 key moments for the Texans. But let's just reset the biggest takeaways here for the game itself. I think number one, and I think this is for anyone who last year was just giving them who's just given, gave the Texans an excuse last week that they were injured. I think that the number one lesson is when you have a good squad, when you have a good coach, you can play good football being injured. It doesn't mean that you have to win. It doesn't mean that you have to it doesn't mean that there has to be like some sort of like overwhelming, like dominant win, but you can play good football. You can lose to Indianapolis and still play good football. Last week was bad football, and anyone who dismisses it with injuries, I think they're making a big mistake in doing so. And I think DeMeco Ryans is a good coach. I think Mike Vrabel's a good coach. I think Mike Vrabel's found a way to do that. You can play good ball with injuries. I think DeMeco showed that. Number two, the Jags are frauds. I'm not saying this to take anything away from the Texans. I am just saying this to say that the Jags at the start of the season were 10.5 point win-loss total over. That was a joke. That was a joke. At the start of this week, they were 10-point favorites against a depleted Texans team. Texans got even more injured, and the line dropped to 7.5. I know a lot of people want Jacksonville to be a top-tier team. They're not that. And quite frankly, I don't know how much progress they made from this year to last, because they're inconsistent, they're sloppy, they're not clean, they're not crisp, and that's just the bottom line right now with the Jags. They're not good, and this division is wide open. Indianapolis right now has 2 wins, everybody else has 1. Colts are going to be in a weird spot because Anthony Richardson's going to come back. Gardner Minshew just went and beat Baltimore. I don't know if the Colts end up beating the Texans if Anthony Richardson doesn't get hurt. So they got an interesting situation. Take number 3, Jimmy Ward's important. He's out there communicating. He's physical. He's out there covering. There's a reason that DeMeco Ryans like Jimmy Ward so much. And Jimmy Ward is one of those guys who he's been through everything. He played for 3 coaches his first 3 years in the league. He's seen a situation crumble. He actually played for 4 coaches his first years. He played for Harbaugh, then he played for Tom Sula, then he played for Chip Kelly, and then he played for Shanahan. He's been through everything you can be through. He's had position changes. He's had all that. That's the type of leadership you want. And oh, by the way, he can still ball. This isn't that culture crap with no substance. Jimmy Ward is important. He can ball. And I think his addition was huge, massive. Number 4, got to give Bobby Slowick his flowers. It's early in the process with Slowick. The tempo didn't seem consistent last week, but Bobby Slowick looked good. And the reality of it is this: it's a week-to-week league. When people say week-to-week league, that means that one week you can suck, the next week you can be good. So like the I got you guy nature of some weasels on social media where it's like, oh, well, you said this about them last week and now you said this week. Yeah, because last week they sucked. And it wasn't as simple as they were injured. They sucked. Like DeMeco Ryans said it, like everyone said it. When they say week to week league, that's what that means. Does it mean like it's an absolute, like they're always going to suck? No. But you diagnose it on Reaction Monday with what happened the day before, and then you move ahead to the next week, and you either have a big picture point of view or you're down with the process. I'm down with the DeMeco process, but it's a week to week league, and DeMeco Ryans was able to get his team shorthanded. He was able to get his team to do their thing. You're absolutely right. Cashman cashed out. I'm telling you, Cashman has some swag. He knows what he's doing. I'll get out of here with some questions. We'll have the 11 biggest moments coming up. Appreciate everyone for coming in. Miguel asks an interesting question. Whose game was it today? I said last week was the Nico Collins game. Today, I'm going to call it the Bobby Slowick, DeMeco Ryans game. I'm going to call it the 49ers South game. How about that? DeMeco Ryans and Bobby Slowick. I will call it their game. Michael says Tank or Nico. I think it's Tank, although I think they're both interchangeable. I think they're both really good complimentary guys. I don't know if they're like top end, got much like Jacksonville tried to bring in Ridley to be a 1 with Kirk and the other guys. But if you ask me who's better, I don't know. I think they both bring different things to the table. Did this qualify as an assing? Not really, because I kind of feel like the game was still in doubt even with 10:40 left. So I wouldn't qualify this as an assing. An assing is where less than halfway through the game, you feel like it's over. And I never felt that way. How many wins do you want to be not worried about the trade? I'm not really dependent on that. You're talking about the Will Anderson trade. I'm not dependent on that, especially if you feel good about CJ Stroud. What are CJ's chances at Offensive Rookie of the Year with how well he's playing? And the Texans aren't even at full strength. Really well. Really good. If he keeps playing like this, he's going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's not even going to be close, no matter what Bijan does. Was the O-line good or was the Jags D-line trash? The O-line was good, especially when you factor in that they were shorthanded. Should Stroud be the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year over Robinson? Yes, he's a quarterback. Do you think they will start committing to the run moving forward or move past? I think it's gonna be a balance. And I thought Bobby Slowick did a good job of balancing it today. What's up with Schultz? Brevin Jordan looked better today, yet 8 or 9 million for Schultz. Look, you need multiple tight ends. I wouldn't be too down on Schultz. You just heard CJ talk really good about him. Don't get too down on him. Just be happy that Brevin Jordan's still alive. He was kind of hanging on an edge. They stayed loyal to him. That actually says a lot about the coaching staff too. Do you think we missed Pyramid today? I think we need to give Toto. No, you definitely didn't. I actually think it might have been addition by subtraction. He was awful last week. I still think there's value with him, but no, I don't think you missed him at all. Not even a little bit. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Subscribe, like, ride along. Locker Room post-game show. Key moments coming out tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. in the Loop, Sports Radio 610. That's also going to be at 10 a.m. Going to record the moments tonight. Going to be on the radio tomorrow. Going to be really, really fun. We're going to react to this and have some fun. Subscribe, like, ride along. When it comes to the Texans, no matter what happens, just remember, we're all in this together. Thanks for coming through.
The game in the headlock, localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, top 2 and we not too plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do.